All right, guys. I'm going to try and make this a short one. I don't know why I say that. You're going to have to put up with the endless pounding that I have to put up with coming from the local building site. I don't know what they're making this time. High rises. What I'm going to show you today is AIMMS Storyboard Management version 1.2.0. I really highly recommend, if you want this, get it now, because it's 15 Aussie dollars and I'm going to cancel that in a week, so buy it now. Yeah, that's a bit of a plug there, but I think it's worth it, and I'll show you exactly one reason why. Also check out this, which is free, which is Comfy batch. This is on my GitHub, and I'll be developing it further, but it'll sit where it's at for now while I test it, what I need to change on it. But it's basically it's this thing, and it basically, you load up a CSV, and then it will give you access to all these fields in the CSV, and you can plug them in and then run it as a batch, and you start it with one, and seed one means row one, so you start it below the heading and then increment, and then when you set it in, I'll show you it running in a bit, because I'm using it with Z-Image right now, and I'll explain how and why in a moment. But you can basically then use a CSV, so you don't, even though I'm plugging my AIMMS software here, and I'm going to have it plug in eventually directly to the database, so you don't have to export a CSV. Currently I use export to batch from CSV, which is part of the new update for this software. You can get the license on Patreon if you're not looking at that already. Then you export all your info, which is basically, these are all the shots info. For example, what I've been putting together while I'm testing it, that's just a description. Here I use the image prompt, I add in that image negative prompt. Then quite importantly, I'm starting to get familiar with what kind of look I want rather than just how to make them. I'm now starting to think about looks, and so I've got a kind of mixture of features in this, and this is all ends up exported to the CSV, which is why I'm showing you, because you can do this in a CSV just the same. But I tend to find I keep afternoon, location and country, I mean time of day, location and country, and year helps place every shot, so it's quite kind of useful. What you do find you run into though is shots like it's not a good example here, but shots where, because you're mentioning the weather, it'll force, even if you're inside in an inside shot, it'll force a view of the weather or something like that, so you kind of strip them out for some shots. I tend to go with, I was going with theme the image in color scheme 60 30-10 or 40-10, I can't remember now, 60-40-10 I think, no, 60-30-10, what I'm on about, ratio, and then I'd give it 3 colors like red, black, gold, and that works really well, except I'm running this through Z-Image, by the way, I think I said that. I was using it to theme the shots, and it's looking really good, like, you know, that sort of thing. So it's getting, oh, that's a bit weird. So you can see where it's using 60% red, gold 30%, and black 10%, or whatever I was doing. And then for him, I'm doing the opposite, right, with a blue and that. But what I ran into was, once I started adding in this part, which you'll notice I'm putting this in video negative. Really, I'd stick it in color, but as you can see, I haven't really got enough space to read it, so I'm testing it here, and once I've got it working well, I'll put it in color, in color scheme field. But what I was going for is, I asked one of the LLMs like Claude or ChatGPT, I want it to look like, in this case I went Lawrence of Arabia, that, and I don't want the big panoramics, I'm just after the film look, the aesthetic. And it gave me a really complicated one, but it really gave me too much. First it gave me old stuff, I've deleted that now. So it was fighting the dates here, and I had to take it out. So I stripped a lot of it back, and anamorphic lens flare, I took that out, stuff like that. And then also, I can't remember, stuff it was telling the sky to do. And you strip it back slowly, you know, minimal is best, I think. So the more you can strip things back, the better off you are. And then I use, when I go to the model here, where are we? When I go to the model here, I'll explain all this in a minute, but I'm plugging negative video into a concat string from CageEye that concatenates all these strings, you know, all these fields together. Sorry. Concatenates shot name, blah de blah. That goes out to the file name. I also concatenate a take version number on that as a string, and then it goes out to the file name. So the outbound is nicely ordered and easily recognized later. Color scheme there. So we've got that going in. Scene context, which when I export out using this option, export to batch from CSV, when I export out of that, it concatenates a bunch of fields like this lot, I think it is. And that's, yeah, that's scene context. So it goes into one thing. And then I've got the positive image prompt that's coming from there. Probably should have named it image prompt rather than positive image, but I've left it as is. And then, you know, you can see the result there. So that's going to be my prompt, and that goes out to the prompt. As you can see in there, I'll just use a show any node to give me that information. And I've got an info node here. I put a show any in because later, if you don't do that, when you load everything in a batch file, when you later look at a shot and go, oh, I want to know what was in that, because you've lost all the information about it, you know, especially if you're using what am I talking about? Batch file processing. It'll store it there. So now I've got, you know, from that, it'll only store it if you've actually put it in a field, if you see what I mean. So I can load it up again more easily and know what I put in there. I add the delimiter in CageEye nodes. You can make that update as many fields as you want, but and you can see I've kind of mangled them up in different directions just because I find certain orders work best. And I put a dot delimiter because it really defines the end of a section when you've got it all in one prompt. So that's working fine there. I've told you about that. All the rest will come in useful later. So this is the stage where what I do, I've actually jumped a stage, but basically what I'll work in CSV first, and I'll get all my shots done. And what I'm working on here is a project called Black Magic, which is a musical, and I'm just doing the first scenes. And God, I know why I'm distracted. It's that endless banging. First image test shots. Yeah, I've done all them. Let me just show you this because the shot list. So I got, I've got a script, right? It's here. I've converted an EPUB to Markdown so that I could feed it into an LLM. And this is my script, and it's all, you know, a full stage play script for this musical, Black Magic, and all the scenes and everything. So it's perfect. And I export that using Calibre, I think it is, just to Markdown. I'll do a separate video on this at some point. And then once it's in Markdown, I can load that up into an LLM like Claude, which literally the one I use for this, and go make me a shot list for all the scenes. I want it to last however long I want it to last, but give me the backbone shots. So I'll pad out the rest. And it came back with 143 shots, I think it is, yeah, 143 shots. For now, I'm only interested in this section. The section defines the scene, so it's at one scene one, the bookies, and this is the section I'm going to do, and it's a musical, so you know there's a song that goes with this. So stage one, I'm just getting the shots, and then stage two, I'll take this to Reaper, the images, lay it out, put the music over the top, and then develop from there. And I've showed you a video on doing that, and I'll do it again with this at some point. So as you can see, I just went import CSV, and what I actually did was strip out all the rest other than the bookies section, which if I had others in here, I could actually filter it by that. So it's a really useful bit of kit, this, and you know, I think it's going cheap, but yeah, I'll stop banging on. Yeah, and then I actually do most of the work of filling this out in the CSV, because it's, you know, admittedly faster, and I can change machines with it. I mean, I've actually got this running on a machine over there, but this, I tend to treat the AIMMS storyboard as my final stage. So when the best ofs are done, everything goes into there. But I definitely use it at this stage for running in ComfyUI and exporting out to CSV. So I keep an established where I'm at so far, and that stays in here. I'm banging on again. But anyway, so got that working. I've exported out. Unfortunately, Linux doesn't work properly with the show project folder, but the Windows one does, so I can go straight to the folder. I need to do a video, but there's information on the website about how this is laid out. And you just go into the CSV folder and export your last export. Take that, copy it, drop it into, so go into your Comfy. If you're Comfy, going into Comfy, go into your custom nodes, go into your batch from CSV and into CSV files, and drop your latest version there. It's got a time at the end and a date, so you can kind of look at it and know where you're at. And then I'll go into here. Yeah, so I've got my first run is a text to video, sorry, text to image. You've got the workflow. I've shared it in the base image pipeline. It's Z image T to, I've got to rename that, haven't I? T to I can't believe it's taken me that long to do it. 2pass version 7. I should really name that version 8 now. You load up your text, preferred text to image workflow. You download, you clone, you install custom node batch from CSV. You wire it up. In my case, you press R to refresh this, which, as I just showed you, I dropped it into there, so it's pointing to there. I'm later going to create one that plugs directly into AIMMS. That's the latest CSV there. I've just exported from AIMMS. You set that back to 1. You leave it on increment, so that's going to step through the rows from row 1. Let's just open one of those. Oh, you get it. You get it. Take 5, is it take 5 I'm on? No, I'm on to take 6 now. You don't need to do this, but it helps just to kind of know how long you've been spending on it. And then I'm actually going to change the seed for this, because I've made a couple of changes, but I want to see. I fixed the seed just because, you know, it's just, if you fix a seed, you know where you're at and you can start developing. Now this is I won't talk about this workflow, but it's coming in, it's creating small and then going through 2 samplers. And, you know, it's probably about my best fastest at the moment, which is Z image. And this is that kind of look I'm getting. I'm not 100% happy with it yet, but it'll do for now. And that's all coming from this. I can show you the changes it's gone through. Started with that. Went to that. You know, 3 stages of various looks like that, and then I added in all the anamorphic stuff, and then that decided not to put the camera in the right place. did something else, trying to change that a little bit too exploding there. This is the sort of stuff probably don't want to add in too much at this stage with this halation, but I want a little bit because I want to feel it. And then that's there, and I've just taken out, I want less of this exploding sky business. That's the sort of thing I add in post more. So I'm really just wanting this kind of, I'm not sure if I'm happy with that aesthetic yet. Got to go through it some more and decide. But then I'll just fire off the runs, and 20, you put the number of rows you want done in there. You set the row to 1 because 0 would be the header row and you don't want that. And then you just fire it and off it goes. And I'll just put that up and then I'll go and do something else. And I think that'll do for now. But yeah, like I said, if you can make all this from CSV yourself if you want to. Just put all the names. There's an example in the GitHub to explain it, all the ones you need. Otherwise, this is all the ones exported out from AIMMS Storyboarding, where I manage it, and I'll be talking more about that now. I'm getting into the guts of my next stage is going to be automating stuff. I'm trying to automate it so I can go over there, do other things like finish my books and stuff like that, and work on other things that I work on, and then come back and go, oh yeah, this has done it now. So like cooking. So I want to be less in front of ComfyUI and more doing my other things while ComfyUI is working. And this is now starting to step towards that. So this is the first stage of automating stuff, and I'll be doing more videos on the next stages as I get to them while adapting this to work with it. Yeah, that should be enough for you to figure it out at this point. And as I said, I'm only going to leave the discount on AIMMS for another week. It's at 15 Aussie dollars right now. It'll be at 35 Aussie dollars when I take the discount off. There will be discounted times, but I think it's good enough now that I can push it out there as it should be pushed out there. Hope it's of use. Any members, oh, never mind, that'll do. Thank you very much. That'll do for today.